You know, I've said it now 3 times, but I want you to head over to Potatoes USA. They're right over to my left. Get a copy of this book, the lookbook.
The lookbook.
As John has called it. I mean, you look at the photography that's in here, the recipes, the ideas are so important. And John is back with us. John, as I said before, is Chief Marketing Officer. And today I want to talk about something different. John, I want to talk about frozen potatoes, and I want to talk about retail, and what you with Potatoes USA are doing to evolve both of those aspects, you know, in the industry.
Right. So those are 2 really interesting and different concepts.
Yes.
So let's start with frozen. I mean, the frozen products, everyone knows fries. Everyone's very pleased with what that performance is. But the thing that's so great is that the processors have come up with so many non-fried products these days that you can use them in so many applications. And so we're working with them to help market those products, not only directly to consumers, but to food service. As you know, labor at food service is the biggest issue these days. So these somewhat processed and frozen products, be it a wedge or a dice or a mashed potato, they're really good, and they save a ton of time for the restaurants. We're also starting to introduce those into the ingredient sector, talking to food manufacturers, because again, you can take that and into international markets where we can't get fresh potatoes into the country. We can ship in the frozen dices or whatever, and then they can finish it off into a finished product.
So I know you can't talk about brands, but I can. So when I look at innovation in frozen potatoes, I go to Chef Alex with Alexia, which is now owned by either Conagra or Simplot. I'm not sure who wound up with that brand.
Lamb Weston did.
So when I take a look at what Chef Alex did 20 years ago,
right,
probably, and he really upped the game with frozen potatoes and adding different spices and different cuts and so on. It was really eye-opening for the industry.
Right.
And now everybody is following suit, and that's so great where we can have that innovation also, frankly, at an affordable price in the supermarket, that it's not somebody coming up with something that it's a premium price, premium tier, just designed for, you know, that upper 1 or 2% or the foodies. I mean, Alexia potatoes are now pretty mainstream.
Very much so. And the thing that, as you said, they set a bar that has really expanded. And now there are not just the big processors, but there are a lot of smaller processors, frozen processors around the country who are making really creative products, making products that can be used by the retailers in their food service operations, products for consumers to buy directly. And the innovation is what's so exciting. And then it's our job to take all those innovations and be, as you said, very brand agnostic, but get them out to people in the U.S. and internationally.
Well, even if I look at the chip business, which I don't want to call it a commodity, but potato chips are mainstream, every person kind of product. And I look at the innovation of flavors that are taking place. I mean, we have on the far end, you know, we've got companies who are coming up with potato chips that taste like candy canes or chocolate, the novelties.
Yes.
And I consider those novelties. They're not mainstream products, but when you think about the different flavors that are coming out with chips, that, you know, when I was growing up, you had plain, you had barbecue, and I don't know, maybe one other.
Yeah.
And now you go into the supermarket or you go into a convenience store, and you have 20 or 30 different flavors to choose from.
Well, exactly. And the Lays, each year when they do their contest, where America gets to first put forward the concepts and then vote on it, I mean, that's gained huge traction every year. So many people get involved in that. And then when you go internationally, Calbee's over in Japan, I mean, they just came out with strawberry shortcake flavored chips. You know, they're pushing it, but all sorts of, they had pickle flavors. I mean,
I've had the pickle. I've had shrimp flavor. I like the shrimp flavor.
Are actually quite good.
That's good. You know, when you get over here, especially in Asia, where they do these very strange flavors, I'm not sure that it would hit here. But to your point, I think the more that we can innovate, the more that we can look at a potato as a palate, if you
Right,
would, for different
exactly.
global flavors. And frankly, I look at, you mentioned Lay's, I think that their contest every year was really at the beginning, and I want to credit them for two things. One is it was at the beginning of personalization.
Right.
They without being personalized, they said to people, we want to give you what you want. What do you want? So
You
that's
tell
probably
us, yeah.
that's probably the beginning of what we now call personalization. But also, and I want to credit both Lay's as well as Five Guys, where they talked about the farm that the potato came from. So Lay's
Right.
for years had those billboards, that were out there that, Tony's farm in Iowa.
Right,
serves
these are where they
Lay's.
came from, yes.
But even Five Guys, what I see, not that the consumer understands the difference, and I probably am a little too harsh on that, but you go into Five Guys and you see the farm, the name of the farmer, and the location of those French fries that day.
Yep.
That's cool.
Yeah,
That's
it really.
cool, and it makes you have a better connection to that food.
Well, and helping people to understand that food does come from the farm. It
Yep.
doesn't come from a factory.
Yep.
And that the farm is actually run by and owned by a person just like
right,
them, not
right.
a big company or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
It's a huge innovation. And I really like where they have the ads where they just cut the potato and it turns into a chip just on the same thing.
Yep.
Those are fantastic.
Yeah, no, I think, you leading the marketing efforts for Potato USA have done a phenomenal job. Keep up the great work.
Thank you.
And I look forward to seeing what you're going to have next year.
Exactly. We're excited. Next year will be exciting.
Thanks, John.
Take care.
We're going to take a break. When we come back, what we're going to do is we're going to switch gears a little bit. And again, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the art of storing potatoes in theory and in practice. Keep in mind that one of the big benefits that farmers and growers have here at the Potato Expo is learning about cutting-edge research, how they can grow tastier, the right size, the right color, the best potato ever. And that's why you hear behind me, and you've heard for the past day and a half, the Innovation Hub, where all these researchers get up and they're adding all the state-of-the-art information. So even though it's a lot of fun here at the Potato Expo, and John giving us, potato beer starting at 3 o'clock every day, and a lot of fun, a lot of games, it's also a place that this industry comes to learn. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Thank you.